What's going on, y'all? It's your man Hellfire with MachineMasters.com. Just wanted to bring you guys a really quick review and overview of the brand new MPC Live from Akai. So the people have spoken. Over the last several years, a lot of MPC users have been asking over and over for a standalone MPC. Well, now Akai has finally answered with not one, but two brand new standalone MPCs. So this one we have here is the new MPC Live. You can see it pretty much looks almost identical to the recently released MPC Touch. It is about, I would say, 50% thicker. The size overall is about the exact same. And again, just like the Touch, this one is gonna be pretty much a fingerprint magnet. You know, it's to be expected with anything black and anything that's a touch screen. No big deal. They give you a nice little wiping cloth to wipe it off. So I won't go over the actual layout, you know, too much because, you know, you guys seen the MPC Touch. It's pretty much identical. The one thing that is different from the top is the screen. It's more of a flat design. And it's more flush with the top of the MPC, which I actually like a little bit better because for me, it's easier to see where my finger is touching, you know, when I'm touching a touch screen. When I use the Touch, sometimes I would accidentally hit the wrong button because of how the screen was recessed in the unit a little bit. Not a big deal, but you know, it did happen. With this, being that the screen is more flush with the top of the unit, I feel like I have more accuracy when I'm pressing the buttons that I want to press on a touch screen. So you can see on the front of it, you have your MPC Live logo. You know, on the side, you have two nice black grills that I would assume aid in cooling. On the back, you do have 6 outputs. You have 2 mains. You have 4 line outs. Here's your volume, your output volume. Here's your record volume. You do have a turntable input with a ground. And here's your sampling input where you can plug in a mixer or whatever else outboard gear you might have. You can plug in the output of your microphone preamp, you know, things like that. You do have 2 MIDI in, 2 MIDI out. You have a USB 3 hub as well as a USB 3 output. Over here you have your anti-theft lockdown, and over here you have your power switch. Now, as I said, this unit is completely 100% standalone, meaning you do not need a computer at all to make music with this thing. As for storage, it comes with 16 gigabytes of onboard flash memory. It also has a slot where you can put a hard drive. It is a standard 2.5-inch laptop hard drive. You can do a spinning disk drive, or you can do an SSD. What I currently have in mind, I have a SD card, which you load in the back, just like that. And that's how you load your sounds into the MPC. Now, as far as the weight, it's not too heavy. It is about 6 pounds. People seem to, equate weight with quality, and this does feel pretty chunky. So overall, the presentation of the unit is very nice. So you can see when you first turn the unit on and you start it up, you're going to be greeted with this really nice looking splash screen that gives you the choice of choosing a demo project, or you can load an empty project. You can load templates and stuff like that. So if I go to empty project and then I go into the browser, I can go and access my SD card, which is where I currently keep my beats that I'm using, and then load the project just like that. It's really simple. And then you also have access to all the included sample library, which is about 10 gigs of sounds that Akai includes with the MPC Live. That's all kept internal. So in the browser is where you would access that. And as for using the MPC Live, if you're familiar with the MPC Touch or the Renaissance, you're gonna feel right at home. The workflow is pretty much identical. And if you're coming from a Ren or a Touch, you'll pick this thing up and you'll be making beats just the same without a hitch. Now, in addition to being a true standalone MPC, it can also be used as a controller for the MPC software. So it is also a hybrid. So you can do standalone mode and you can do controller mode. Now in controller mode is where it's gonna let you attach to your computer where you can access all your third-party plugins. When you're in standalone mode, you will have access to all of the Akai plugin effects that come with the MPC software. The good thing though is that if you do happen to be working on a beat that you use plugin instruments on, you can bounce that track to a sample and then you can import the audio onto an audio track. And then you can take that and use it in standalone mode. As for audio specs, it does also double as a audio interface for your computer, and it will do up to 96 kilohertz in controller mode. In standalone mode, it'll do up to 44 kilohertz. The MPC Live will also use the brand new MPC software version 2.0, which comes with audio tracks, an updated mixer, real-time time stretch, real-time pitch shift, and a whole bunch of other highly requested feature requests. Now, one of the other big questions people seem to constantly be having with these brand new standalone MPCs is how do they sound? Do they sound like MPC 60s? Do they sound like MPC 3000s, SP 1200s? I would say no, and I mean, I wouldn't expect it to. You gotta keep in mind that these MPCs are built on modern technology, not older 12-bit low fidelity components. You know, these things are made to be more open sounding, more clean, and more high fidelity. So it's not gonna sound like your old classic MPCs. Now that's not to say it doesn't sound good. The MPC Live and the MPC X does use newer top of the line converters. As far as do I think it sounds good, I think that's pretty subjective. You guys are gonna have to decide that for yourselves. I personally like the way it sounds, you know, from the little time that I did spend with it. But I think if you're expecting this thing to sound like a golden era drum machine, you're probably gonna be disappointed. The average user will be happy, I believe. Okay, so another big question. Who do I think these new standalone MPCs are for? Well, there's a couple different things you gotta consider. If you're used to working in a DAW with the power of your computer and your entire plugin arsenal, and you rely on that to make your music every day, this might not be the choice for you as far as your main production tool goes. But if you're looking for something that you can take on the road with you and maybe leave your computer behind and just use this as like a scratch pad or, you know, something to get ideas out quick, this will be a really good alternative. As for who I think this MPC is more for, if you're still on an older hardware MPC, you need to finally upgrade to this. I think this is gonna be 10 times better than any old standalone MPC. The workflow, so much better, in my opinion. And then again, you still wouldn't have to be tied down to a computer, which is the concern of a lot of the guys that's still using hardware MPCs. And the other good thing about that is you still do have the choice to come and plug it into a computer and, you know, load all your sounds into the MPC, or you can export the stuff here and, you know, send them to somebody else for a collab or to a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer and do all your production completely detached from the computer. So it kind of gives you a little bit of the best of both worlds. And also for that dude that loves making beats on the beach, this is you, son. So yeah, if you want to just take this thing on a roll with you, you want to go to, let's say your wife dragged you to a family barbecue or something, and you feel like being antisocial, just bring this thing along. It has a nice battery, you know, packed into it that I think I've gotten almost 8 hours out of it since I've had it, before it required me to plug it in. But I think Akai rates it at about 5 or 6 hours. So pretty much all you have to do, you know, is take this, make sure you have some sounds on it, obviously. Grab yourself a set of headphones. People always ask me which headphones I like. I always use the Young Guru III headphones. I swear by these. But yeah, Just take these. The MPC uses a standard 1/8" stereo headphone jack. Just plug it right in the back. I hit play on my beat. And just like that, no cables. Lastly, one of the big advantages of having a standalone MPC is the latency, or should I say the lack of latency. It's pretty much non-existent. As soon as you tap a pad, it's like instant. The sound is coming through the speakers. I personally never seen a problem at all with a controller, as long as the software is set to a low buffer, about 128 or 64 at most. But there is a noticeable difference in the pad reaction time in standalone mode on the MPC Live. So I think you guys, you standalone guys that were leery about going to a controller, will be happy to hear that. Another question I get is, should I get the MPC Live or should I get the MPC X? Honestly, if you can afford both, I would get both, because I personally wouldn't want to travel with the X just because of how big it is, you know, with the big screen. Like this thing is just so easy. I just throw it in my book bag. I don't need a power cable and I can just make beats. So I would personally like to have this as a secondary MPC, but as far as what I would like to have for my main production unit in the center of my studio, I'm a flagship guy all the way. So for me, it would be the X. But if space is limited, you know, the two use the same software. So this is going to be pretty much just as powerful. The only disadvantage you're really going to have is I miss the other 12 Q links. And like I said in the review of the MPC Touch, the full transport control. That's personally my preference. Doesn't really slow me down when using the Touch at all, but it is just something that I prefer. But that just might be something that you guys have to decide for yourself. As far as price goes, I believe the Live is going to be set at $1,200 MSRP. Probably around $999 street price, if I had to guess. The X is going to be about $2,200, which I would say will probably be about $1999 street price. And I think those prices are pretty fair for what you get, honestly. You know, there's probably going to be some people that are going to complain about the price, but people wanted a standalone, and you know, that's what it costs. So, you know, it's either you're going to spend the money or you're not. There are cheaper alternatives out there, but for me, nothing beats the sequencer of an MPC. Like, I tried pretty much almost everything there is out there, and I always come back to the MPC because the sequencer is I don't know, it can't be it can't be duplicated for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, like I said, man, if you're still stuck on a standalone hardware, old school MPC, I think now is a great time to finally upgrade and take advantage of some of the newer technology. Like I said, everything you can do on an older MPC, you're gonna feel right at home with these new MPCs. Now, if you're gonna be in the LA area next week, make sure you head over to the Winter NAMM, where the MPC Live and the MPC X will be on display, and check them out for yourself in person, as well as ask the Akai reps any further questions that you guys might have had. I hope I covered everything. I might have left some things out. You guys can drop some comments down in the comment section, and I'll try to answer what I can. Again, man, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I look forward to seeing what you guys think about the new MPCs. All right, peace.